They thought I was weak because I always gave in. They were wrong. I was just waiting for the right moment to show them what real strength looks like. I'm Madison, and I've spent 28 years being the good daughter. The one who never complains. The one who always understands. The one who sacrifices everything so everyone else can have what they want. But on my wedding day, the one day that was supposed to be about me, my family reminded me exactly where I stand in their eyes. And for the first time in my life, I stopped playing along. If you've ever felt like the spare part in your own family, stick around. I promise you'll find value in what happened next. This story will change how you think about the word family, because sometimes the people who should love you the most are the ones who hurt you the worst. My father died when I was 15. Heart attack, no warning. One day he was there, and the next he wasn't. Mom, Linda, became a different person overnight. Not softer, harder. Like she calcified around her grief and decided the only way forward was to survive, not live. And I became her survival plan. Kylie was only 12 when Dad died. Beautiful even then, with these big blue eyes that made adults melt. Mom looked at her and saw fragility, something precious that needed protection from the cruel world. She looked at me and saw utility, a workhorse, someone who could handle the weight. So I handled it. I got a job at Starbucks at 16, then added weekend shifts at Target when I turned 17. I put myself through community college while Kylie got to focus on her social life. Mom would say things like, "Your sister needs to find a good husband, Madison. She's not practical like you. She needs to focus on making herself attractive." Attractive? That word haunted me, because the implication was clear. I wasn't attractive enough to rely on looks. I had to be useful instead. I worked 60-hour weeks during my junior year of college, sent money home every month, paid for Kylie's prom dress, her senior trip to Miami, her first year at State University. She dropped out after 2 semesters because college isn't for everyone, you know. Mom didn't push her. She just sighed and said Kylie would find her path. Meanwhile, I had to drop out of my final semester because Mom got pneumonia and the hospital bills piled up. I never went back, never finished my degree, because by the time Mom recovered, there was always another crisis. Kylie's first wedding. Yes, wedding. She married some guy named Derek when she was 23, divorced him 8 months later because he didn't understand her needs. I paid for that wedding, $7,000. Mom promised she'd pay me back. She never did. When people asked me about my life, I'd smile and say I was helping family, that it was what you do, that I didn't mind. And I told myself I believed it, because if I admitted the truth, that I was drowning, that I felt invisible, that some nights I cried in my car before going inside because I couldn't face another day of being taken for granted, then what? Nothing would change except now I'd be bitter too. So I swallowed it, all of it. I met Ethan when I was 26. He came into the office where I worked as an administrative assistant. I'd finally gotten a stable job with benefits to fix our server system. He was quiet, competent, and when he looked at me, really looked at me, I felt like I existed as more than a function. We started dating slowly, coffee, then dinner, then weekend trips. He never complained when I had to cancel plans because Mom needed something or Kylie had an emergency. He just said, "Family's important. I get it." But I noticed the way his jaw tightened when I mentioned paying for Kylie's car insurance. The careful neutrality in his voice when Mom called me at 10 p.m. demanding I come over to set up her new phone because she couldn't figure out all this technology. Ethan proposed after 2 years. His parents, the Harrisons, this wonderfully normal couple who seemed genuinely excited to welcome me, threw us an engagement party. It was small, sweet. Mrs. Harrison hugged me and whispered, "I'm so glad Ethan found you. You're exactly what this family needs." I cried in the bathroom afterward because it had been so long since someone made me feel like I was enough just existing, not for what I could provide. Kylie was there, of course. She wore white to my engagement party. When I gently suggested that might be a bit much, Mom snapped, "Don't be petty, Madison. Kylie looks beautiful in white. This isn't about competing." I wasn't competing. I never was. That was the problem. 6 months before my wedding, the Harrisons gave me a gift. a 2019 Honda Accord, silver, with only 30,000 miles. Mr. Harrison handed me the keys and said, "You'll need reliable transportation for work after the wedding. Consider this a welcome to the family gift." I sobbed, literally sobbed in their driveway, because in 28 years, no one had given me something that significant without expecting something in return. The car was mine, not something I had to share, not something I had to justify. Mine. I took care of that car like it was made of glass, washed it every Sunday, oil changes every 3,000 miles. I even bought one of those air fresheners that smelled like new car scent because I wanted to preserve that feeling of being valued. Mom looked at the car with this weird expression. She ran her hand along the hood and said, "They're generous people, the Harrisons. But remember, Madison, nothing in life is really free." I should have paid attention to that tone. 3 months before my wedding, Kylie's life imploded. Again. She and Derek, who she'd gotten back together with after their divorce because apparently that made sense to someone, broke up for good. She lost the apartment they'd been sharing, showed up at Mom's house with 6 suitcases and a dramatic story about how Derek had betrayed her. Mom called me that night. "Your sister needs help. She needs a car to get to job interviews. Can she borrow yours?" Borrow. Such a harmless word. I said yes because I always said yes. Kylie picked up the car the next day. She didn't say thank you. She said, "Finally, something good happening to me." Within a week, she'd changed the seat covers, added bumper stickers, told her friends Mom bought her a car to help her get back on her feet. I heard this secondhand from a mutual acquaintance who thought it was so sweet that our family was supportive. I asked Kylie about it. She laughed. "Oh, Madison, don't be weird about it. I'm just personalizing it while I'm using it. You'll get it back." I didn't believe her. But what was I going to do? Demand my car back from my struggling sister? Mom would have crucified me. So I borrowed Ethan's truck and told myself this was temporary. Just temporary. The wedding planning was a nightmare. Not because of the wedding itself. Ethan and I wanted something small, just family and close friends in his parents' backyard. Simple, meaningful. But every decision became a referendum on whether I was being selfish. I wanted ivory bridesmaid dresses. Mom said that would wash out Kylie's complexion and insisted on sage green. I relented. I wanted a chocolate cake. Kylie said she was trying to eat clean and pushed for lemon. I relented. I wanted a sunset ceremony. Mom said that would be too hot and moved it to noon. I relented. Ethan noticed. He'd watch me agree to things I clearly didn't want and say, "Madison, it's your wedding. You're allowed to have opinions." But I didn't know how to have opinions anymore. I'd spent so long being accommodating that I'd lost the muscle memory of wanting things for myself. 2 weeks before the wedding, I asked Kylie when she'd return the car. I needed it back for the honeymoon. Ethan and I were driving to the Smoky Mountains. She blinked at me like I'd asked her to donate a kidney. "I'm still job hunting, Madison. I need it." "You've had it for 3 months. And you have Ethan's truck." "Kylie, it's my car. I need it back." She teared up. Actually, teared up. "I can't believe you're being this selfish right before your wedding. You know I'm struggling. But sure, take the car. Let me figure out how to get to interviews on the bus." Great sisterly support. Mom overheard. She gave me this disappointed look and said, "Madison, you're about to start a new life with a man who has resources. Kylie has nothing. Can't you be generous?" Generous. I'd been generous my entire life, but saying that would make me the villain, so I swallowed it. Again. The wedding day arrived. August 15th. Hot but beautiful, with white chairs set up in the Harrisons' backyard and string lights wrapped around the oak trees. I wore a simple dress, nothing extravagant, because Mom had made comments about not being wasteful, and felt genuinely happy for the first time in months. The ceremony was perfect. Ethan cried when he saw me. His vows made everyone tear up. I felt like maybe, just maybe, I was allowed to have this. One day, that was about me. We cut the cake. Lemon, because Kylie won that battle, and I was about to take the first bite when Mom stood up. She'd had 2 glasses of champagne, just enough to make her confident. She tapped her glass with a fork, and everyone quieted. I want to make an announcement, she said, smiling like she was about to present me with a wonderful gift. A family update, really. I felt Ethan tense beside me. He knew. Somehow, he knew. Kylie has been working so hard to get back on her feet, Mom continued, her voice warm with pride. And I'm thrilled to announce she's accepted a position at a law firm as a paralegal. It's a wonderful opportunity. Polite applause. I smiled, genuinely happy for Kylie. Good. Maybe now she'd return my car. So, Mom said, and her smile sharpened. We've made a family decision. We're passing the car that Ethan's parents gave Madison to Kylie. Kylie needs it for work. Madison, you and Ethan have 2 cars now, don't you? You don't need a third. The backyard went silent. I felt like I'd been slapped. 50 people staring at me, waiting for my reaction. Mom beaming like she'd done something magnanimous. Kylie next to her, smiling this little satisfied smile, like she'd won something. My car, the one gift I'd received in 28 years that was mine, that represented being valued, that I'd taken care of like it mattered. They were taking it. On my wedding day, in front of everyone. I opened my mouth, but Kylie spoke first. Relax, Madison. It's just a car. Just a car. Like it was nothing. Like I was nothing. Like every sacrifice I'd made for 28 years had bought me the privilege of being robbed in public and expected to smile about it. Ethan stood up. His hand found mine under the table, squeezed once. Then he looked at my mother with an expression I'd never seen on him before. Cold. Completely cold. No, he said, quiet but clear enough that everyone heard. Mom blinked. Excuse me? That car was a gift from my parents to my wife. Not to your family. To Madison. It's in her name, registered to her, insured by her. You don't get to pass it to anyone. Mom's smile faltered. Ethan, this is a family matter. You're right, he interrupted. It is. My family gave that car to Madison. If Kylie needs a vehicle, I'm happy to help her find a used car in her budget. $3,000 should get her something reliable, but Madison's car is not up for discussion. Kylie's face crumpled. This is my sister's wedding day, and you're going to humiliate me like this? Ethan didn't raise his voice. You humiliated yourselves. I'm just setting a boundary. Linda stood up, her face flushed. How dare you speak to me like this? I'm your mother-in-law. And you're trying to steal my wife's property. Ethan's voice stayed level. Who's in the wrong here, Linda? People started gathering their things. The tension was suffocating. Kylie burst into tears and ran inside the house. Mom followed her, shooting me a look that promised this wasn't over. A few guests offered uncomfortable congratulations and left early. I sat there, cake untouched, watching my wedding implode. And I felt nothing. No embarrassment, no sadness. Just this vast, echoing nothing where my ability to care about their feelings used to be. Ethan sat back down, put his arm around me. I'm sorry, he whispered. I should have handled that more diplomatically. I turned to look at him. You stood up for me. No one's ever done that before. His jaw tightened. That's fucking heartbreaking, Madison. Mrs. Harrison appeared at my elbow. She was a small woman, barely 5'2", but she had this spine of steel. She sat down across from us and said, Madison, honey, that car is yours. It's registered in your name. The title is in your name. If they try to take it, you call the police. That's theft. They're my family, I said automatically. Family doesn't steal from you on your wedding day. Her voice was gentle but firm. You've been taught that love means sacrifice, but real love doesn't require you to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. I started crying then. Not sad crying, relief crying, because someone finally said out loud what I'd felt my entire life but couldn't articulate. I wasn't selfish for wanting boundaries. I wasn't cruel for saying no. I'd just been surrounded by people who benefited from my silence. We left the reception early, drove to a hotel Ethan had booked for our wedding night. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling while he held me, and I made a decision, a real one. Maybe the first real decision I'd made in years. I wasn't giving them the car. I wasn't giving them anything anymore. The next morning, I called Kylie. She answered on the 4th ring, voice thick with sleep. What? I need the car back by 5 p.m. today. She laughed. You're joking. I'm not. Return it by 5 or I'm reporting it stolen. You wouldn't dare. Try me. Silence. Then, you're really going to ruin my life over a car? You really tried to steal my car on my wedding day. Who ruined what? She hung up. I waited. 5 p.m. came and went. No car, no call. At 6 p.m., I called the police non-emergency line and reported my vehicle stolen. Gave them Kylie's information, Mom's address, the whole story. The officer who took the report sounded sympathetic. Ma'am, just so you know, this is likely going to cause family drama. I'm aware, I said, but it's my car. Understood. We'll send an officer to retrieve it. They showed up at Mom's house at 7:30. I know because Mom called me shrieking. The police are at my door! You called the police on your sister! I called them about my stolen car. Kylie happens to be the one who stole it. She's your sister. And you're my mother. But neither of you seem to think that means you should treat me with basic respect. Mom's voice dropped to this icy tone I remembered from childhood, the one that meant I'd crossed a line. You're going to regret this, Madison. Family is all you have. Without us, you're nothing. I should have felt scared, guilty, something. But all I felt was tired. If that's what you really think, then I guess we're done. I hung up, blocked her number, blocked Kylie's. For the first time in 28 years, my phone was silent. No demands, no guilt trips, no crisis that required my immediate attention. Just peace. The car came back at 9 p.m., delivered by a very annoyed police officer. It was trashed, scratches along the side. The interior reeked of cigarette smoke even though Kylie knew I hated smoking. The seats were torn, there was a dent in the rear bumper, and the gas tank was empty, completely empty. On the dashboard was a note in Kylie's handwriting. Happy now? I took pictures of everything, documented every scratch, every stain. Then I posted on Facebook. Not a rant, just a simple statement with photos. Family doesn't mean you have to tolerate disrespect. I didn't name names, didn't have to. Within an hour, people who'd known me for years started commenting. Friends from high school, colleagues, people who'd watched me being used as a doormat and stayed silent because it wasn't their business. Sarah, my best friend from community college, commented, I remember when you dropped out to pay your mom's hospital bills while Kylie was in Cancun with her boyfriend. This family owes you more than an apology. Others piled on. Madison paid for Kylie's first wedding. Madison worked 3 jobs to put Kylie through her first year of college. Madison gave up a promotion because her mom needed help moving. The truth spilled out. All of it. Every sacrifice I'd made and never mentioned because I'd been taught that good daughters don't keep score. But the internet keeps score. The internet remembers. Kylie made her own post 2 hours later. Something about how I was cruel and vindictive and turned my back on family when they needed me most. Her friends rallied around her in the comments. Poor Kylie. Struggling Kylie. Victimized by her selfish sister. But then my friends fact-checked her. In real time. Someone posted receipts, literal receipts, showing I'd paid $7,000 for her wedding. Another person shared a screenshot of Kylie's Instagram from the same week I was working 60-hour weeks, showing her at a spa day captioned, treating myself because I deserve it. Kylie deleted her post after 3 hours. Too late. Screenshots live forever. Mom didn't call. She sent a text from a new number I didn't recognize. You've gone too far. You're making this family look terrible. I replied, I'm not making you look like anything. I'm just stopping hiding what you are. She didn't respond. The next few weeks were strange. Quiet. I kept expecting the guilt to hit, the regret, the feeling that I'd made a terrible mistake. But it never came. Instead, I felt lighter, like I'd been carrying a weight so long I forgot it was there, and now that it was gone, I could finally breathe. Ethan and I went on our honeymoon. Drove through the Smoky Mountains, stayed in little cabins, hiked trails where the only sound was wind through trees. He never said, I told you so. Never pushed me to talk about my family. Just held my hand and let me process at my own pace. One night, sitting on a cabin porch watching the sunset, I said, I think I've been a coward my whole life. He shook his head. You've been surviving. There's a difference. I let them treat me like garbage. You were conditioned to accept it. That's not the same as choosing it. He squeezed my hand. But you're choosing differently now. That takes more courage than people realize. I started therapy when we got back. Found a woman named Dr. Chen who specialized in family trauma. She taught me words for things I'd experienced but never named. Parentification, being forced into a parental role as a child. Enmeshment, families with no healthy boundaries. Scapegoating, being blamed for family dysfunction. You weren't a bad daughter, Dr. Chen said during our third session. You were cast in a role and punished when you tried to step out of it. I cried, not sad tears, relief tears. Because for the first time, someone with credentials, someone who studied this stuff, told me I wasn't crazy. I wasn't selfish. I wasn't wrong. I kept going to therapy, learned about boundaries, learned that no is a complete sentence, learned that people who truly love you don't require you to set yourself on fire to prove it. I started making decisions for myself, small ones at first. Ethan suggested getting Thai food. I said I'd prefer Italian. He said, okay, no fight, no guilt trip. Just okay. It felt revolutionary. We bought a house, 45 minutes from Mom's place, far enough that she couldn't just drop by, close enough that I couldn't use distance as an excuse for why I wasn't visiting. I started freelancing as a graphic designer, something I'd wanted to do since college but never pursued because it wasn't practical. Turned out I was good at it. Really good. Within 6 months, I was making almost as much as my office job. Within a year, I quit the office and went full-time freelance. I stopped checking my phone every 10 minutes, expecting a crisis. Stopped flinching when I heard a notification. Started sleeping through the night. Mom tried reaching out a few times, always from new numbers because I kept blocking her. The messages followed a pattern. First, anger. You're ungrateful. You're cruel. You've always been selfish. Then, bargaining. Can't we just move past this? Family forgives. I raised you better than this. Then, guilt. I'm getting older. What if something happens to me? You'll regret this. I never responded because I realized, finally, after 28 years, that nothing I said would change her. She didn't want a relationship. She wanted a function, and I wasn't available for that role anymore. Kylie sent one message about 4 months after the wedding. I'm sorry, can we talk? I almost responded. Almost. But then I remembered the note on my car. Happy now? Not, I'm sorry I trashed your car. Not, I'm sorry I tried to steal from you. Just sarcasm, just bitterness, just more proof that she wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry she faced consequences. I deleted the message, blocked that number too. A year after the wedding, Mom called from yet another new number. I was getting better at ignoring unknown callers, but something made me answer this time. Maybe curiosity. Maybe the part of me that still hoped, stupidly, that she'd finally understand. Madison. Her voice sounded older, tired. I need help. Not, I'm sorry. Not, I miss you. Just, I need help. What happened? I asked, neutral. I fell, broke my leg. I'm at home, but I can't get around. Kylie's not answering her phone. Can you come stay with me for a few days? The old Madison would have said yes. Would have dropped everything, rearranged her life, sacrificed her comfort to fill the need. The old Madison would have felt guilty for even hesitating. But I wasn't her anymore. Have you called Kylie? I asked. I told you she's not answering. What about your neighbors? Your church friends? Madison, you're my daughter. And you're my mother. But that doesn't mean I'm your on-call emergency service. My voice stayed calm. You have options. You can hire a home health aide. You can call a friend. You can keep trying, Kylie, but I'm not available. Silence. Then, in a small voice I'd never heard from her before, You really hate me, don't you? No, I said honestly. I don't hate you, but I don't trust you, and I can't help someone who's never acknowledged they hurt me. I did my best. Maybe, but your best included letting me be used as a doormat for 28 years, and I'm done. You're so cruel, she whispered. No, I'm just not convenient anymore. I hung up. Didn't block the number this time. Just let it sit there, one more unknown caller I wouldn't answer. Ethan found me sitting on the couch, staring at my phone. You okay? She fell, broke her leg. He sat down next to me. Didn't ask if I was going to help. knew me well enough by now to know I wasn't. How do you feel? Sad, I said, but not guilty. Is that weird? No, it's healthy. I leaned against him. She said I'm cruel. You're not. How do you know? Because cruel people don't cry about setting boundaries. They just set them and move on. You care. You just care about yourself now too. That's growth. 2 years after the wedding, I got pregnant. Found out on a Tuesday, told Ethan on Wednesday. We cried together, happy tears, scared tears, excited tears. I thought about calling Mom, sharing the news, extending an olive branch. But I knew how it would go. She'd cry. She'd say she wanted to be involved. She'd promise to do better. And then slowly, the demands would start. Can I come stay with you after the baby's born? You'll need help. Let me move in. Kylie should be the godmother. It's only fair. And I'd be back where I started. Except this time, I'd have a baby to protect. A daughter, because somehow I knew it was a girl who I'd die before letting be treated the way I was. I didn't call, didn't send a card, didn't post on social media, told our close friends and Ethan's family. That was enough. Our daughter was born in May, 7 pounds, 3 ounces. We named her Claire. She had Ethan's eyes and my stubborn chin. When they placed her in my arms, I looked down at her tiny face and made a promise. You will never be a sacrifice, I whispered. You will never be less important than anyone else. You will know you're loved just for existing, not for what you provide. Ethan heard me, squeezed my shoulder. She'll know, because she has you. I raised Claire differently. When she said no, I listened. When she wanted space, I gave it. When she struggled, I helped without making her feel guilty for needing help. I broke every pattern my mother taught me. It was hard. I caught myself sometimes about to say something that sounded like Linda. Don't be selfish. Think about others first. Family comes first. But I'd stop, breathe, reframe it. It's okay to have needs. You can be kind without sacrificing yourself. You come first to me always. Mom never met Claire, never called to ask about her. I think, in some way, she knew that ship had sailed, that the door I closed wasn't locked. I never changed my number, never blocked her permanently. But it wasn't open either. She'd have to knock, apologize, acknowledge, and she wasn't capable of that. Kylie reached out once more, 3 years after the wedding. A long email. She'd been in therapy, she said, realized some things, wanted to apologize. The email was actually pretty good. Specific. She named things she'd done wrong, acknowledged how she'd benefited from my sacrifices, said she didn't expect forgiveness, but wanted me to know she understood now. I read it 3 times, showed it to Dr. Chen. What do you think? I asked. What do you think? She countered. I believe she's sorry, but I don't know if that changes anything. Dr. Chen nodded. Forgiveness doesn't require reconciliation. You can acknowledge her growth without reopening a relationship that harmed you. I wrote back, kept it brief. Thank you for the apology. I appreciate you taking accountability. I'm glad therapy is helping you. I'm not ready for a relationship and I don't know if I ever will be. But I wish you well. She never responded. I didn't expect her to. That wasn't about starting a conversation. It was about closing a chapter with honesty instead of bitterness. I'm 33 now, 5 years past that wedding day. I run a successful design business from home. Claire is 3, brilliant and stubborn and completely sure the world revolves around her, in a healthy toddler way, not a Kylie way. Ethan and I are happy, not perfect. We fight about stupid stuff like whose turn it is to do dishes, but we're partners, equal partners. Sometimes I think about Mom and Kylie, wonder how they're doing, if they ever think about me, if they've changed. But I don't wonder enough to reach out, because I learned something important. You can love people and still know they're not safe for you. You can wish them well from a distance. You can hope they heal without being present for that healing. I don't have a big dramatic ending. No moment where Mom finally understood and we reconciled. No scene where Kylie and I became friends. Just quiet. Just me, living my life, making choices that prioritize my well-being and my daughter's happiness. And honestly, That's enough. That's more than enough. That's everything. The wedding cake sits in my memory now, untouched. The moment frozen. Mom smiling like she'd given me a gift. Kylie smirking like she'd won. Ethan standing up and saying no. That was the moment everything changed. Not because of what they did, but because of what I finally let myself do. I stopped accepting less than I deserved. I stopped believing that love requires suffering. I stopped setting myself on fire to keep other people warm. People sometimes ask if I regret cutting off my family, if I miss them. The truth is complicated. I miss the family I wish I'd had. The mom who celebrated my successes instead of minimizing them. The sister who was a friend instead of a competitor. But I don't miss the reality of who they were. And I don't regret choosing myself, not for a second. Because here's what I learned, what I'd tell anyone in a similar situation. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do, for yourself and for the people who hurt you, is walk away. Not in anger, not in revenge, but in quiet, firm acknowledgement that you deserve better. You don't owe anyone access to you just because you share DNA. You don't owe anyone forgiveness just because time has passed. You don't owe anyone a relationship that costs you your peace. Family isn't who gave birth to you. It's who shows up for you, who celebrates you, who sees you as a whole person, not a role to fill. And if you don't have that family, you build it, you find it. You create it with friends who become sisters, mentors who become mothers, chosen family who choose you back. I found mine. In Ethan, who saw me struggling under weight I didn't realize I was carrying and helped me set it down. In Claire, who will never know what it's like to be second best. In the Harrisons, who welcomed me not for what I could do, but for who I am. In my friends, who validated my experience when my blood family tried to rewrite history. That's my happy ending. Not reconciliation, not revenge, just peace, just freedom. Just the quiet joy of a life lived on my terms. And if my mother or sister ever read this, here's what I'd want them to know. I don't hate you. I never did. But I also don't need you anymore. I spent 28 years believing I couldn't survive without your approval. It took me too long to realize you were the ones who couldn't survive without my compliance. I survived. I'm thriving. And I did it by finally putting myself first. To everyone watching this who sees themselves in my story, the good daughter, the sacrificial sibling, the one who always gives in, let me tell you something. Walking away isn't cruelty. It's survival. And you deserve to survive. You deserve to thrive. You deserve a life where you're valued, not used. Take your car back. Set your boundaries. Walk away from people who only love what you provide, not who you are. You're worth more than that. You always were.